welcome to my channel. My name is Lydia, and I am a mom of 3. I have a 5-year-old, a 3-year-old, and a 1-year-old. I just wanted to come on here and share my experiences so far with 2 of my 3 kids having what's a condition that's called febrile seizures. If you're on here, you're probably clicked on this video because you're going through the same thing that I've been through. And so if you are here right now because you have a child that had a febrile seizure or has had many, I am really sorry that you are going through that, because I understand how that feels and it's terrible. But I just noticed that there wasn't a lot of videos on YouTube of just regular moms opening up about it. There was lots of informational videos from doctors and pediatricians talking about febrile seizures, but I just saw that, there was no just real life moms talking about, the condition and their experiences. So I just thought I would share my experience and hopefully just be able to provide some form of comfort and I guess relatability, and just as a disclaimer, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a pediatrician. I don't have all of the answers, but I do have experience, and I have been through this for 5 years now, actually. So I've been through many episodes of febrile seizures, and so I do know a thing or two about them, and unfortunately understand the feelings and the pain that comes along with that, and all of the emotions. So I thought so a little backstory again. So 3 kids, 2 of mine have had them. My 5-year-old, who is, he's 5.5 right now. His first one was just when he was 1.5 years old. That happened when I was home alone. I'm a stay-at-home mom, so my husband was at work. At the moment, he was my only kid. I didn't have anyone else. The others weren't born yet. So I was staying home with him, and we were outside in our backyard. We had a really small backyard, and we had a sunroom attached to the back of the house, and it's all glass, and so you could see through it. And so my 1.5-year-old was walking around in and out of the sunroom and in the backyard, and I was keeping an eye on him, watching him the whole time. I think I was, cleaning up out there or something like that. And so yeah, he was just playing, and he was not sick to my knowledge. At that moment, he was healthy as far as I could tell. No signs of being sick. And so anyways, outside playing, and I hear him fall, and I was at the moment in the backyard. I saw that he had fallen in the sunroom, and so I ran in there, and immediately I saw that he just looked lifeless. He was laying down, just his eyes were rolled behind his head. He was shaking, his arms were shaking and his legs were shaking, and I was trying to call him and get his attention. I was calling out my son's name. I was like, Luca, and I was trying to get his attention, shaking him, touching his face and all that stuff, and he wasn't responding. And all of a sudden I immediately panicked when I noticed that he wasn't responsive to me. That was I get chills to this day thinking about it. That was the scariest thing, was the fact that my son just passed out And by the way, I had no idea it was a seizure. I didn't know that it was a seizure. So this was completely freaking me out. So yeah, he was unresponsive. Had no idea I was calling his name. And so we did live in half of a double house at that moment. And so my neighbors were connected to us. And so I picked him up and I ran out into my backyard. I hopped like over the small fence that was there. It was a short one, and so I like stepped over it, knocked on my next door neighbor's back door of their house. They're always home, and so I knocked on her door like frantically, and I was like, help, I need help. Like my son, like he's like, I don't know what's going on. And I was bawling my eyes out. I was crying. I was panicking. I was not remaining calm, but you know, in my defense, I had no idea what was going on. This is the first time anything like this had ever happened. And she came out and she's like, oh my God, blah, blah. And, you know, she was so sweet. She's always been there for me. So she was trying to help, and she, didn't know what to do, but she said that the neighbor, 2 doors down is a nurse. And so like, let's head there. So like we ran with him 2 doors down to a sweet lady who let us come in, and she said, lay him on the ground, he's having a seizure. And I was like, oh, okay. Like, of course I'm still panicking. I still was crying. And all this time also I was trying to call my husband. I was trying to call him, but he didn't have his phone on him, or maybe it was like on silent or something. He's at work. And so he wasn't picking up. I was calling him like over and over. I think it's kind of blurry. So I think my neighbor called 911 for me, like helped me with that, because I just was freaking out being by my son's side. And so anyways, this neighbor who's a nurse like said to lay him down on his side. So 911, yeah, they called 911. The ambulance came and fire trucks came, and they immediately said like, yeah, he's having a febrile seizure. And of course they remained professional and they handled it so well. And of course I was like crying, and they made me feel like, you know, it's okay. It's gonna be okay. I was shaking, by the way. Can anyone relate to that? I don't know. Comment or whatever. Feel free to comment your experiences too. I really want to hear about it. I genuinely do, because I care so much, and this is a safe place to vent and to write about your own experiences. But for me, I know I was shaking. I thought he was dying. So before I knew it was a seizure, I thought he was dead or dying. So I was shaking. I couldn't calm down. My body was just completely panicking. So anyways, they got him into the ambulance, and they hooked him up to oxygen. And as soon as the oxygen started flowing into his body, he did snap out of that seizure. Thank you, Jesus. So after that, they kept the oxygen in him, and of course, like, you know, having the little monitors on him, the finger monitor, checking all his stats and all that, heart rate and blood oxygen, all that kind of stuff. They're checking on that, making sure everything's okay. After he, was done having his seizure, though, he did take a long time to come back to his normal self. So, if this is your first time ever having a child have a seizure, if it's your first time going through this, you probably noticed that, even after your kid woke up from this seizure, they were still very out of it. That is normal. We've been through this so many times. So that's very normal. It can take a few hours, for them to fully feel back to themselves. And even then, they're going to be tired, and so they'll sleep on and off. And then all of a sudden, they just are back to their normal, happy selves, thankfully. And, usually with the seizure, it means that they were sick, and it was the first sign of them becoming sick. And so, yeah, they might be back to their normal selves and a little sick too. But anyway, so that was my experience. His lasted 10 minutes. What's normal is anywhere from a few seconds up until I believe like 15 minutes at the most. That's a simple febrile seizure, is anywhere from like a few seconds to 15 minutes. I think typically though the majority of them aren't 15 minutes. I think majority of them, I'm just like, again, I'm not a doctor, but from what I understand and experience myself, it's usually like 5 minutes or under, I would say. And then there's, you know, a certain percentage of them that will be 10, 15 minutes. And then there's a very, very small percentage of them that will be even longer. And so, yeah, and for the most part, they are mostly harmless. If they are complex seizures, which are seizures lasting more than 15 minutes and occurring again in 24 hours, and I think the other criteria for it to be complex is like a seizure without a fever. Those, I still don't believe those pose much of a risk. Again, I'm not a doctor, but I won't really speak that much to that because, you know, like I said, I don't know the true statistics with that, and if they have brain damage after a certain amount of time, I don't know. So yeah, so that was our experience with my son, and he went on to have more than I can count on my two hands seizures for many, many years. He stopped having his last seizure right before he turned 5. So for about 4.5 years, he had his febrile seizures, and he got them almost every time he had a viral illness. So anytime that he got like a virus, anytime he got sick, a cold, stomach flu, you know, all of that, almost every single time he always got a seizure with it. And I just want to say, so for me, this absolutely is up to you, and you are free to do what you want to do because you're the parent and you know best. You know your child best. And so, you know, I encourage you to use your motherly instincts and always trust your gut of what you think you should do. But for me, whenever my child was having a seizure, I always did call 911 just because it gave me a sense of comfort, it gave me some peace. Just knowing that there was going to be professionals on the way that can provide rescue meds or oxygen or a number of other solutions in case things do go wrong. So yeah, I could probably make a couple more videos on this, but I just want to make this initial video just to say that I'm here for you. I understand because I've been through it. My kid had so many seizures. I literally can't count. All of them were different. There was a few of them that were really quick, just 2 minutes long. There was one time that he had a seizure. He was sitting on the couch and it was very fast, and thank you, Lord, for it being fast, because I hate every single time it happens. It kills me because I hate seeing my kid unwell, and it's terrifying seeing them having a seizure. It's not right. It's terrifying. But one time he did have one that was really fast. It was like 30 seconds. He was just sitting on the couch, and he kind of like, it wasn't even a typical one. He didn't really have the body shakes. He kind of just like, his eyes rolled behind his head, and he just all of a sudden was like completely out of it, like just sat still. And I was like, oh, okay, I could tell it was happening. So I stayed by him, had my phone ready. If it would have gone even a minute longer, I probably already would have been on the way to calling 911, but then he snapped out of it and was just tired. So it was very fast, and that one was manageable. But anytime for me that it was like 2 minutes or more, I just called 911. And there's nothing wrong with doing that. So never be afraid to call 911 or whatever your local, depending if you're not in the United States, whatever that number is, to call the emergency services. Never be afraid to do that. Never be ashamed to do that. They're never gonna tell you like, oh, you shouldn't have called 911. That's what they're there for. They're there to support you, and you don't even have to go to the hospital. So there's, I think one time, that we did call them and had the ambulance come, and like they ended up just being with us, making sure he was okay, and we ended up just not going to the hospital. But many times we ended up going to the hospital just because I wanted that peace of mind. I just wanted him to get checked out, make sure that everything's okay. So yeah, I just wanted to make this video and let you guys know that you're not alone, and you have every right to feel all the feelings. It's traumatizing. It is, it's probably one of the hardest things that you'll ever go through. There's nothing more terrifying than, you know, worrying about the safety of your child, wondering if they're going to be okay. And so I just want to say that you are heard. I see you. I feel for you. And again, I'm very sorry that you're going through this. So if this was helpful for you, please feel free to share this video with others and comment below if you want to share your own experience, and I will read them personally. Thank you so much for watching, and I will be praying for each and every one of you guys, especially those I see write their stories down. I will be praying for you, and I hope to make some more videos because I do have more to say. It's just a little bit too much for all one video. So yeah, and if you did enjoy my video, and if you would like to hear more about some other stories I have, and just whatever, just go ahead and subscribe if you would like to support my channel. So thank you so much, and have a great day.